You also notice that fox squirrel is a little bit bigger than your gray squirrel. The gray squirrel is just a little bit smaller body size than fox squirrel. Fox squirrels, I feel that you could probably get away with a lot more movement or noise. And there's a lot of times if they see you and don't really know what they are, they might even come down the tree and bark at you a little bit. And also, let's say you do give away your position, or he sees you and goes hides, you can come back about 20-30 minutes later and he's right back to business again. Or you can just sit him out, and sooner or later he'll come back out. Either going to be looking for you, or he'll go back to cutting. Like I said, a gray squirrel, if they spot you, and if it's a area that's got a lot of hunting pressure, they're gone. Or they're going to hide, and they're going to stay hid for a long time. They'll wait you out. There's no sense in worrying about that. If you spook a gray squirrel, just move on. If you come into a tree and it's got some fox squirrels in there and there's cutting, you know, he's pretty well just eating away up there. Now, where a gray squirrel, he might go in a tree, grab a nut, and go to another tree off to the side. Smaller tree, he's got like a little feeding branch that he'll go to, and he'll cut away on it. And then when he's done, he'll go back up that same tree. Now that happens a lot, especially if there's several gray squirrels feeding out of one tree. More dominant ones will hang in the tree and feed in the tree, and the less dominant ones, they'll kind of hang around in the trees around it. So if I hear a place or come across a place that they're cutting on real good, I'll just look at it and watch it and see actually what I'm up against. If I'm up against fox squirrel or up against a gray squirrel. Now if I see gray squirrels moving in, I'll kind of hunt the perimeter a little bit and try and get to the ones that are feeding to the outside trees versus the ones that are actually in the tree cutting itself. So I'll harvest them first before I go in and actually hunt the tree that's actually being cut. Some of the basic equipment that I carry with me when I'm squirrel hunting is, well, I carry a little pair of binoculars. They come in handy once in a while if there's one up there that you just know, or he's laying up there on a limb and you're just not sure if that's him or not. I use binoculars. Another item that I carry with me is a cutter call. And basically it just sounds like a squirrel cutting on a nut. You hear that, you know there's a squirrel in the area, and he's cutting away on some nuts. So how I use this, I don't really use this as a locator call. If I'm in the air, like I said, and there's a squirrel up in a tree and he's cutting and I know there's multiple squirrels up, I'll shoot one squirrel and then don't move. I'll kind of hide. I won't even pick up the squirrel. I just let him lay and I'll wait it out. I'll wait a few minutes because the other squirrels have stopped cutting and they're listening. They're kind of wondering what the heck that big loud noise was. So I'll wait a little bit, and maybe 5 minutes or so go by, and what I'll do is I'll get the cutter call out and start cutting. And that'll trigger, 99% of the time, that'll trigger them to start cutting again. So once they start cutting again, like I said, I'll go ahead and go through the same process again. Harvest the next one, wait it out, wait 5-10 minutes, and get out the cutter call. Now, the majority of the other squirrel calls that are out there on the market are actually distress calls or warning calls or something like that. So I don't normally ever use a distress call because, like I said, it's an alarm call. It's alarming all the other squirrels in the area that, hey, there's danger in the area and watch out. So that's why I opt out. I use more of a feeder call, which is this cutter call. Another item which you want to invest in is probably some type of hunting vest. This one here, it's more mesh, and in the early part of the season when it's hot out, it's, average days right now are in their high 80s, low 90s. So it can get pretty warm out in the woods. So this vest here has got a lot of mesh in it. It's not as hot as a normal vest, but any type of vest or some way to carry your squirrels in, and your shotgun shells and stuff like that, or anything else, water bottle or any other kind of stuff that you might want to carry with you in the woods, you can put you in a vest. As far as what kind of firearm to use, if you're just beginning and you got a young person out there beginning, a good shotgun, a 20-gauge youth model would work great. I like using a 20 gauge for squirrel. You don't need a whole lot of firepower, so to speak. The thing about 12 gauge, you can buy 12 gauge shells and 20 gauge shells fairly cheap. The size shot I use is 6 or 5s, sometimes 4s, but most time than not there's 5s and 6s is what I use for squirrels. You can also use a 410. I do a lot of squirrel hunting, and later on in the fall, once they start on the ground a little bit more, is I use a 22. It's a little bit more challenging. Like I said, I use the first part of the season to kind of get re-familiarized with me actually moving around in the woods and camouflage concealment and actually just walking it. Most of the time it's pretty dry out here in the first part of the season, like around, like right now, here it is Labor Day weekend, and we haven't had rain in probably over a month, so it's pretty dry. Clothing wise, get something that blends in with the natural surroundings. I just old flannel shirt and some, got jeans, a dark pair of jeans, works great. Another item which you might want to take into consideration is having with you is some type of hunter orange. Now, here in Indiana, we don't have to wear hunter orange till in November, but if you're out there with somebody, or you're out there in an area that could have other hunters in it, for example public ground, it sure wouldn't hurt to have some hunter orange. There's two main reasons why. One is obviously for safety. The second is if I'm out squirrel hunting and there's another hunter out there, a lot of times they'll see me and they'll say, they'll either recognize me or wave on, and then give me my space. And that's one way I don't like coming into an area and here's some squirrels in the area and I'm sneaking into it, and next thing you know, there's another hunter right there. That's pretty well the basics of squirrel hunting. So take somebody out and introduce them to squirrel hunting. Squirrel hunting is a good way to get youngsters involved with hunting and introduce them to hunting, or somebody who hasn't hunted before. With that, catch you out in the woods.